Today on Investigate TV Plus, creating shade and sustenance.
Meandering around this food forest and being able to pick and eat is just incredible.
Tall trees, twisting vines, and bountiful shrubs are taking root in unlikely locations.
It was just an empty lot. Lots of nefarious behavior going on in the dark of wee hours of the morning.
We take an in-depth look at how cities transform eyesores into food forests and explain how this urban oasis improves climate and boosts food security.
Then, pediatric cancer is a life-altering diagnosis that reaches far beyond the child.
And it just kind of underlined that this has been a whole family experience, and she paid the highest cost physically.
We examine how the disease can redefine a family's sense of normal, provide insight into the most common forms of the disease in kids. Plus,
fortunately, science has made lots of progress.
A doctor shares a promising message about treatment and survival.
And from trauma to triumph.
I've got everything I need to be contented, and I am.
Her job is to preserve history, but she'd rather be defined by the present. We reveal the mantras that inspired her to overcome a troubled past.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. Food insecurity, heat islands, stormwater runoff, and lost green space, they can all be common challenges in today's densely populated, concrete-heavy cities. But is there a common solution? I'm Tisha Pell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Reporter Heather Graff has an in-depth look at one approach that's growing, quite literally, across the country, and asks whether urban food forests could be the answer to several big problems for cities.
Yeah, that one's ripe. Oh, here's a little chokeberry.
If the sign out front doesn't catch your attention,
Pomegranate.
then odds are Dawn Taft probably will.
But here's a beauty.
Her excitement palpable as she shows us around the property.
Look at them. They're everywhere.
And shows off what she believes is food for the soul.
When they're in full bloom, they're just big and beautiful and happy.
Dawn is the city arborist and manager of environmental programs here in Hyattsville, Maryland. And this is one of 2 food forests she helps oversee on behalf of the city and its residents.
Popular are the figs and the persimmon. We have currant, we have blackberries, we have raspberries, hazelnuts, pecans, beach plum.
Food forests, as the name suggests, are designed to produce edible harvests that are typically free for public picking. But they're different from a community garden because food forests incorporate fruit and nut-bearing trees alongside perennials and shrubs, with a goal of mimicking the natural ecosystem.
So it's a layered effect. The plants are chosen and planted to help each other grow.
The result, Dawn says, is this quiet, shaded green space that feels almost secluded. But in reality, it's just about 8,600 square feet tucked between an auto repair shop and a row of houses. A railroad crossing and a funeral home among its neighbors, as this once vacant lot in the middle of the city has now been transformed.
The mayor wanted to find some way to bring community back to the neighborhood.
Oh, this is much better.
Freddie Reed lives right next door and has watched so many people collect their favorite fruits here, he started handing out small bags to visitors when their haul is too big to carry by hand.
I don't think they expect for so much fruit to be here.
It's got to make you proud.
I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty happy. Still learning, though.
It's a learning process that began back in 2014 when the city worked with landscape designer Lincoln Smith, who has helped create numerous urban food forests in the Mid-Atlantic region.
How do you go about designing a food forest?
It starts with talking to the local community about what crops they'd like to see, because if you don't have people in and enjoying and harvesting from the food forest, it's not doing its job.
But if the food forest is doing its job, Smith feels this approach can have broad benefits in cities. For starters, since urban areas are often dubbed food deserts with limited access to affordable, healthy food, he says the fresh produce grown in food forests is a much-needed resource.
Some of these are in neighborhoods where there aren't full-service grocery stores, but also it's that experience and that kid growing up like, I know where berries come from. I can grow some if I want to at some point.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture, in this 2024 write-up, also noted the impacts of urban food forests, saying they can sequester carbon to help mitigate climate change, and calling them a form of agroforestry that can address urban-specific issues like food insecurity, heat islands, soil contamination, limited wildlife habitat, and stormwater runoff.
They're not a solution to just one thing. Once I started doing the research, I went out to 30 sites across the country and met firsthand with different people at the food forests.
Catherine Bukowski runs the website communityfoodforests.com and spent years building out this map that tracks dozens of food forests popping up in cities across the country.
Is it a movement? Are we seeing more cities experiment with this?
Yes, I think so, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I think it's just continuing to be refined, and people are figuring out what's working and what isn't.
And that last part has really been the focus of her research. So much so, Bukowski wrote this food forest handbook that covers potential benefits, challenges, and best practices.
Signage is really, really important.
In Hyattsville, you can see each plant and tree is labeled, and the signs include QR codes that can be scanned for details on when specific foods are in season and ready for harvest.
You know, people are allergic to different foods. It's good to just let people know exactly what is growing there.
Bukowski says cities must also remember food forests are a long-term commitment.
They're not maintenance-free, definitely not.
More than 10 years in at this site.
I am trying to give this pawpaw some light.
And Dawn will tell you she and her team of city staff still do regular pruning. Plus, they pay an outside contractor to weed and mow about twice a month.
I often tell people to start small as a best practice and then expand over time.
As for how to measure success, Bukowski believes that part is rather simple.
People in the area happen to know about it. They're just wandering in. They've been there before.
Something we saw firsthand during our stop in Hyattsville.
Everything good in here. It's very sweet.
And something Dawn Taft says she gets to see.
All right, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Almost every day.
There's very few times when I'm here that there's not somebody here. So I think the biggest indicator is that the fruit is being eaten. It's just working.
A couple years ago, the USDA partnered with an organization called the National Center for Appropriate Technology, or NCAT, for a project aimed at learning more about successful urban food forests in several different states, from Kansas to Florida to Massachusetts. We spoke to NCAT about that work and why this type of agroforestry seems to be catching on.
I think people are seeing the value that's coming out of these urban landscape food forests. If you have a space that isn't being used, maybe is an eyesore. A lot of people enjoy nature, and especially when you live in the city, it's hard to come by.
In many cases, that USDA project found municipalities are teaming up with local nonprofits in building these urban food forests as a way to help reduce costs for the city and to help with the maintenance challenge as well.